Hey guys, it's Bearded Dragon Care. So in this video I'm going to be doing the opposite of last week's video, and I'm going to be talking about 5 products that I regret buying. There's not many products, so some of them aren't really that big of a regret because I usually research before I buy items, so there isn't really many that I regret buying. So I don't get them if I think that they won't work, if you see what I mean. So I've got 5 as opposed to 11 in my last video because there aren't as many that I regret buying. So I'm just going to say them in any order. There isn't really any that I regret more than the other, I just regret buying all of them. And also, if you hear hopping, I do have locusts, so they might be making a noise while I'm recording, so that's what you hear. So number 5 is this. I bought this when I first got Humphrey. It's just a calcium supplement, but it's not correct. So at the minute, well, since I bought Humphrey, I've used these, as I said in my last video, and these can be used in the correct quantities basically, but this wasn't good for when I had her as a baby, so I haven't really used any of this. As you can see, I've hardly used any of it because it just wasn't right, so I didn't want to put Humphrey in danger because they needed to have a lot of body weight and she was quite small when we bought her. So that is one product that I've regret buying. Number 4 is this Reptile Hammock. So this my sister got for Humphrey the second year we had her. So it's just a hammock, but it doesn't stick to her vivarium because her vivarium is wood and it needs to stick to glass. So I can't use it, but I think Humphrey would enjoy it, and it's a bit small because we got it when she was a bit smaller, but she probably wouldn't fit on it now. I could stick it on her glass doors, but that wouldn't be practical as I wouldn't be able to use the glass doors then, so I can't use it. So it's just been sat in my drawer. I don't think I'll get rid of it in case I do ever want to use it or can use it, but that is my 4th product. So number 3 is her old vivarium. So I don't really regret buying this too much because it was good for when she was a baby. The main reason is because it was 3 feet and not 4 foot like her one that she's in now. But she had that one for a couple of years and they don't recommend having anything smaller than 4 foot, and that was 3 foot. It had pretty good ventilation but not the greatest, and it didn't have any shelves or anything, but it was fine for when she was small because obviously it was just a good size, but when she got to the size that she is now, it got too small. It wasn't too expensive, but she couldn't stay in it her whole life. She now has this one, so we've had to buy 2 vivariums now, so it wasn't too much of a big regret, but obviously I had to buy another one, so it was quite a lot of expense. So number 2 is her heat mat. So when I was researching for bearded dragons, so before I bought Humphrey, I saw that they can get heat mats and anything extra for heat if it gets too cold, or just if you want to put a heat mat in. So I did get one, but then I did more research and I saw that obviously they can't detect heat underneath them, so they can't realise when they're getting hot, so it would burn them. So I've never actually used a heat mat. If you are thinking of buying a heat mat, go for a ceramic heater instead. So it wasn't too powerful, so it couldn't really burn her, but I just regret buying it because waste of money, haven't even used it, and it wasn't needed. So number 1 is my biggest regret, and this is a controversial subject, and it was reptile sand. So when I was buying Humphrey, I went to a store and I said I'm not getting sand because I know the dangers of having it, but the store worker managed to convince me that calcium sand is better than normal sand. Calcium sand, it's basically meant to stop it from causing impaction basically if they swallow it, so it's meant to just dissolve in their stomachs instead of clumping and creating a hard mass that then they have to get removed, or it can be fatal. So that was meant to dissolve and be fine if it got wet or she digested it from eating live food with it. So I bought it. It wasn't too expensive, it was about £5, but it was a small bag and it managed to just fill the bottom of the thing, whereas lino is much cheaper because you can get a lot of it and you don't really need to get it out and change it every month or so. So then we went to another pet store and he was asking questions about like, what lights do you have you got the calcium ready, what food have you got, and then he asked about substrate, and I said I have calcium sand, and he said no, that is no good. So he said go home, change it, and then come back and get a bearded dragon when you've sorted that out. So I went home and we got rid of the sand straight away. We bought some reptile carpet, which was in my previous video, and then we bought Humphrey. As you can see, she's pretty big and she's grown very well, and I'd have hated for anything to happen to her from having sand, and that was my biggest regret. I'm happy that the pet store worker told me that was my #1 product that I regret buying. So that is this week's video, guys. I will now do follower of the week. Okay, also in last week's video, I apologise, I wasn't feeling very well, and I forgot to put Laya Weir F's username into the video. So here is her username, and now here's the next follower of the week. So this week's follower of the week is Beardy Family. They are my follower of the week because they asked for a shout out, but I don't do shout outs on my Instagram page. I do follower of the week basically instead, and in return obviously I get a shout out too. So they're my follower of the week. They have also been an active follower. I'm not just choosing them to get a shout out. Since they followed, they have liked my photos and been active. I just thought I'd do them for this week's video so they don't have to wait too long. And here is their Instagram page, I'll put it up. They give out shout outs basically to other bearded dragon pages, so obviously if you go and follow them, that supports other pages to help get recognition. And thank you for watching this video, guys, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!